Yeah.
You want copyright on that? Yeah, I remember the one time they started in the aviation. I remember the one time they started on aviation YouTube.
You're like,
It was a big deal.
pretty cool kids. You're going to see in repair and aircraft fuselage, the fabric covering on top of it is cotton, so again, it's kind of outmoded today. Also, they're using asbestos in order to control the heat, but I don't know where you get any of that today. So anyway, just a few things that are in there.
Most light aircraft have a fuselage built of steel tubing. To repair it successfully and safely, you will follow a few basic practices. The damage here is typical of what you can expect after a crack-up involving the fuselage. As with any other job, of course, you'll have to find out all about the damage before you start work. This will mean a thorough inspection. You can easily see that this longeron is bent, and that a diagonal truss is bent. However, you'll have to find out whether this is all of the damage. So the next thing to do is to remove the finish from the damaged areas of the tubing so you can inspect the metal itself. Wear goggles while you buff the tube. When you've exposed the bare steel, you can make a close inspection. Examine the tubing closely with a magnifying glass, particularly the cluster welds and vent areas. Close inspection will show up many cracks like this one. You'll have to replace this section of longeron. Now you have the damage well defined. The diagonal truss is only bent, not cracked. It can be straightened. The longeron must be replaced. Always do the straightening work first. It's a good idea to use a portable work table so you can have your tools right at the airplane. In this case, the truss was bent because of stresses set up by the bend in the longeron. You should relieve the stresses before working on the truss. To do it, cut through the longeron with a hacksaw. Now you can straighten the truss. You'll need a length of strong channel iron and some hardwood blocks. You can use a large C-clamp to apply pressure. Make your first setup so as to apply pressure where the bend is greatest. As you tighten up on the clamp, the tube will be bent back straight. The more you apply pressure, the more it bends back. Toward the end, you'll have to apply quite a lot of pressure. When the truss is approximately straight, allowing for spring back, remove the blocks and channel iron. Check the tube with a straight edge. Too much allowance was made for spring back, and the tube is now bent beyond the straight position. It must be bent back a little. Apply pressure in the opposite direction and continue to straighten the tube until your checks with the straight edge indicate the tube is perfectly straight. Now check it for roundness with the template. This is perfect here. But over here, it's not so good. Mark the spot. You can round out the tube with formed hardwood blocks and a clamp. The rounded section of the blocks must fit the tube very closely. Give the tube a moderately hard squeeze. Check again with the template. This is okay. Now, if you really want to be on the safe side, just double check the tube for straightness all around. If it's okay, you can go ahead and repair the longeron. Now, here are the 4 major steps you will follow. First, you'll remove the damaged section. Then, secondly, you'll cut and fit a new section. Thirdly, you'll have to prepare internal reinforcement sleeves. And fourth, you can weld the new section and the sleeves into place. That's the general procedure. But what about the details? Well, first, what does the manual have to say? You'll find that it has complete specifications for replacing tubing. There are several methods. The drawing for this type of job shows where the tube should be cut and welded in relation to the cluster weld. It also shows that the cut should be made on an angle of 30 degrees with the longeron. The first job is to cut the damaged section on a 30-degree angle. You'll find this easy if you'll prepare a block like this with 30-degree angles. Clamp the block to the longeron, so one side of the block is along the place you want to cut. Make your 30-degree cut using the block as a guide. Cut both ends the same way, but on reverse angles. Check for accuracy with a bevel protractor. This cut isn't quite right, but you can dress it down with a file. Clean the burrs off, too. Check it again, both ends. Dress and trim the cuts. Until they check perfectly on the 30-degree mark. Now, you'll have to check a dimension. When you cut the longeron, the distance between station points at the cluster welds may have changed. You'll have to find out and fix it if necessary. Get out the manufacturer's drawing and find a dimension for the 2 station points you want. Adjust a trammel to the exact dimension given in the drawing. Use a good, accurate instrument. Draw center lines at the cluster welds to locate the station point. Put one trammel point on a station mark and check the position of the other point in relation to the station point at that end. You can see that the trammel point is outside the station point. This shows you that the structure has sagged a little. You'll have to fix this next. Set a little block against the cluster weld and put the point of the spreader against it. Tighten it enough to hold it in place. Spread the structure a little. And check with the trammel. Not enough. Spread it some more and check again. This time it's just right. Now the next thing is the material for the replacement section of tubing. The replacement section must be the same material as the original tubing. And it must have the same outside diameter and the same wall thickness. Measure off the length of the new section, remembering to allow 1/8 of an inch less at each end for the welding gaps. The ends of this new section must be cut at 30 degrees to match the cuts on the longeron. Check for accuracy. Trim off the burrs. Make a trial fitting. Be sure that you get the welding gaps correct at each end. Trim it with a file if necessary. Now, check with the manual again for welding instructions. Specifications call for rosette holes in the replacement section, spaced as shown in the drawing. A is the diameter of the tube. Lay out your location points for the holes according to the specifications. Lay out both ends of the replacement section. Center punch them for drilling. Drill the rosette holes. The next thing to do is to make the internal sleeves which go inside the replacement section and longeron stubs. The material used to make the internal sleeves depends on specifications in the manual. The table shows that when the original tubing is 4130 steel with an outside diameter of 1 inch, the internal sleeve should be 7/8 of an inch outside diameter. And if the original wall thickness is 28 thousandths of an inch, with 4130 steel, the sleeve should have a wall thickness of 35 thousandths of an inch. The drawing shows how long you should make each sleeve, 5 times the diameter. Lay off the length of the sleeves on the sleeve material. Cut the sleeves to length. Remove the burrs. That takes care of the sleeves. Now go back to the longeron. On each stub, you'll have to lay out the locations for the rosette holes according to specifications. Center punch and drill the rosette holes. You'd better check the sleeves and the stubs, just so you know they go through all right. Then you can mark the rosette hole location on the sleeve. Mark both sleeves the same way. Now you can set the replacement section in place with the sleeves inside the stubs and inside the new section. Work the sleeves in position with a scriber or some other sharp instrument. Here's where you'll be glad you made the reference line of the rosette hole on the sleeve. When it's in the center of the rosette hole, you know the sleeve is properly positioned. Now you're ready to weld. First, take every possible precaution against fire. Spread wet asbestos on the bottom fabric. Pack it around the longeron and other tubes so the heat can't travel to inflammable sections. Make a final check with the trammel to be sure nothing is slipped out of position. The job is okay to proceed. Now, call in another man to help you. Don't take a chance. Have the other man stand by with a fire extinguisher in his hand. Have him watch the flying sparks that you can't see because of your welding goggles. Now you can tack weld the gap between sections and tack weld through the rosette hole. After you tack, check with the trammel again. It's easier to correct a mistake now than later. If the job is okay, you can remove the spreader. Give yourself more working space. Finish all the welds. Make a final check on accuracy. Remove the asbestos. And clean the welds with a wire brush. When you've done a job this way, it'll be as strong as or stronger than it was originally. Don't forget to refinish the tubing with a rust-preventive finish. Damaged aircraft tubing can easily be repaired if you will follow specifications and do the job carefully and skillfully.
The text that he was referencing was the precursor to the 4313, the advisory circular. That was the CAM 18 manual. If you have a chance to get an older copy of that CAM 18 manual, I'd Something else too, in the ABIM library, I've got some references you might want to take a look at. This would be in the advisory materials section. I've got a Somerville Tubing Company catalog. This was done in 1941. It's more than just a catalog. It actually covers a lot of technique in tubular welding for 4130 and SE 1025 tubing. So it'd be worthwhile if you're interested in working or at least doing welding work on aircraft. I download a copy of this thing. This thing might be a little bit too big to open right now, but well, they won't. But I would. It's a worthwhile piece of information if you want to do welding on tubing. It covers much more so than what you'll find on the 4313, including the technique of actually making seamless tubing. So it covers quite a bit. But anyway, lots of data that's there for you too. So anyway, worthwhile. Something else that you might want to consider in welding. Occasionally we can, rather than use active-settling welding for 4130, you might want to attempt TIG welding. There's some excellent references for TIG welding as well. But what if I go here? Let's take a look here. This guy is really good. He's TIG welding, but again, you get the idea.
This week's video, we're going to be talking about TIG welding on 4130 chromoly tubing, mainly geared toward the thicknesses used in home-built aircraft, but same principles apply for any 4130 chromoly tubing. Tip number one, preheat is not needed for anything under 120 thousandths thick, but it sure won't hurt anything. Chromoly gets strengthened and hardened by heating up and then quenching. And so that being the case, and also the fact that it's been gas welded for years successfully, it just kind of makes sense that you want to slow the cooling rate. So tip number two is weld a little bit slower than you normally would. Don't try to get in and fly like you would maybe with trying to not to discolor stainless steel. Just take it nice and slow, and kind of sort of do more like you would gas welding, and things will go a little bit better. Tip number three, along the same lines, to slow the cooling rate, don't weld where there's a breeze or a draft. Like don't weld near an open door where there's cold air blowing in. It's going to cool your weld down. Along those lines, I got a metallurgical lesson when I was about 20. I had a high carbon steel German pocket knife that somebody had cut a live wire with. It left a really, really hard spot on the blade. It just would not file, wouldn't sharpen, wouldn't do anything. Well, that's a high carbon steel that hardens when it gets hot and cools quickly. It melted and cooled quickly when it's a really hard spot. So that leads me to tip number four, use high frequency to avoid those arc strikes. An arc strike will be a hard place that will turn into a crack later on. Tip number five, use ER70S2 rod, not 4130 rod. Have a lot more success, and the welds will be plenty strong on those joints using ER70S2. Also, another tip is a Leatherman tool is like the handiest thing ever. Just keep that thing in your pocket the whole time you're welding. You'll be snipping rod all the time. Tip number six, taper amperage very slowly when you're stopped to avoid a crater crack. Go nice and slow when you're welding, and also when you stop, just taper off that foot pedal. You always want to have a foot pedal when you're welding chromoly tubing. Taper off nice and slow. Tip number seven, pulse helps near edges and for gaps. Now, I'm not talking about like 3 or 4 or 10 pulses a second. I'm talking about 33 pulses a second or higher. The settings I used here on this Dynasty 200, actually 33 right across the board. 33 pulses a second, 33 background, and 33 peak pulse. That's all you got to remember is 33s will give you a good starting point. And what that does is it really helps you welding near an edge like this, keeps the heat from wicking over and melting off that edge. fingernail it, completely melted it off. That pulse I know looks a lot slower than it is, but that's the shutter speed on the camera not being able to keep up with the pulse frequency. That's 33 pulses a second, really hardly noticeable to the naked eye. Here it looks like maybe 5 pulses a second or something like that. But 33 pulses a second really helps in welding near an edge, and then some other situations that I'll show you here in just a second. Just confines the heat, keeps it from spreading out and building up and saturating and then melting the corner off. For a gap like that, it really helps fill in gaps too. Now, you shouldn't really have gaps like that. You should work hard to eliminate gaps and get good fit-ups, but sometimes you have a gap. So I'm not saying you should have a gap like that or it's okay to weld it. I'm just saying using pulse in the range of about 30 pulses a second. I use 33 here. 33 background current, 33 peak pulse really helps in limiting the heat input, and keeping the heat confined, and keeping it from wandering and building up so much that it keyholes out in an uncontrolled fashion. This just kind of keeps it under control a little bit for filling in the gap. Tip number 8, leave the last bit of weld in an easy to reach area. What I mean by that is when you're closing up something, it has no place for the gases, the hot gases to escape, like both ends are sealed up. Don't make the last little bit of weld in a hard to reach place, like you wouldn't want to leave it here in the throat of that joint. You want to leave it on the outside. Because gases will build up, it'll get hot, and just as soon as you close up, you're tapering off, it'll blow your puddle right out from the expanding gases inside that tube. So, don't leave that last little weld in a hard to reach area. Leave it in an outside area like this, so if you have to get a grinder out and grind out some porosity or whatever, it's not a nightmare to get to. That goes for any welding, a sealed type of an area. I do it a lot. There's press fits with machine fittings and things like that, and I always have to be concerned with letting it cool down. In fact, it's not a bad idea just to let it cool, walk away, go to another joint, come back and weld that last quarter inch really quickly. Tip number 9, if you can't see it good, you can't weld it good. So use a cheater or wear glasses. I think this sounds obvious, but it's not obvious. I've trained a lot of people, and we've gotten into several days of welding, and things just aren't happening. And all it was people weren't aware, they weren't seeing the puddle clearly. So when you got your head stuck in a fuselage like this, it's very hard if you wear bifocals to line up your bifocals in the right way. You got to see it. If you weld an 030 wall tubing, by the time if it takes you 5 seconds to even see that you're getting a puddle, you already got a hole. So a cheater lens, also called the diopter or just reading glasses, go a long way. Don't be afraid to wear them. Tip number 10, always focus the arc on the thicker piece, especially when tack welding like this. You see the arc wants to jump over to that thin piece, that's just where it wants to go from electrical resistance and heat and physics and all that stuff. So focus the heat on the thicker piece, add some rod, let it wick over to the thinner piece. You'll be ahead of the game. On a joint like this, got little sharp corners like that, you'll blow that corner off if you don't get it all joined together first. So, get a tack weld and join little intersections like that before you get going too much and get too much heat in the joint. Just use a little bit of heat, a little bit of foot pedal on the amperage control, dab until you get it all joined together, and then you can fuse it all and blend it all in, and then when you weld it, it won't blow away because heat will conduct evenly. Tip number 11, cleaning makes a difference, but not the difference. All right, here's a good clean joint, clean down to bright metal. 4130 chromoly tubing often comes in, mostly you order them in normalized condition. It's got a mill scale coating on it, but it's not a heavy coating usually. It's not anything like a piece of boilerplate with a thick mill scale coating. It does weld better if it's cleaned off to bright metal, much better. This joint was cleaned and it just flows really nicely at low heat. Clean metal always welds better. That's just a given across the board. However, sometimes you might be called in to weld something that's already tacked up. It would be just pretty much impossible to take apart and clean. So now you're faced with the choice of, do I just walk away and tell this guy I don't weld dirty metal, or How bad is it? You go ahead and weld it, whatever. So sometimes on 4130 chromoly tubing, there will be times when you need to weld it and it's not clean down to shiny bright metal. Not the end of the world. It's just going to weld a whole lot better if it is clean. See, that was shiny bright metal, nice weld, same joint, almost the same identical joint, no cleaning at all. Watch the puddle here. It's maybe slightly more sluggish than with the completely clean metal, but not bad still. It's still flowing. Not a terrible amount of oxide islands floating around in the puddle or anything. Still going okay. Again, same exact joint, same exact thickness tubing, same exact diameter, everything. I set up 2 joints just to kind of demonstrate. You can still do a decent job if the mill scale coating is not too awfully thick, and that is often the case with chromoly tubing. Tip number 12, use aluminum foil as an argon dam. You're going to find a lot of sharp angle. This is nothing compared to the way some of them are on a fuselage. It's hard to get the electrode in there, and hard to get good gas shielding, and sometimes the shielding creates some kind of vortex and you get porosity and everything. So a little heavy-duty aluminum foil, pony clamp or something, you can mash it up inside the crotch of those joints like that. It creates a little bit of a dam to trap argon. And then you don't have to use, you can come in it from the side like this. You don't have to use so large a cup or extend your electrode out so far. It helps trap the argon just enough to get things started and get a little bit of weld in there. And then you can, when you're done with one side, just get a little bit. You can move the foil to the other side, wire brush everything off as clean as you can possibly get it. Move your foil to the other side for a dam as well, and then things will go a lot better than with no foil or no dam at all. Just gives you an edge, just a little bit of an edge to trap that argon, and sometimes that's all you need. So it doesn't weld perfectly. There's a little bit of oxidation sometimes there, but no porosity, and you're okay with that. Let's see how that looks after coming off that area where we restarted. Not too bad. That is the 12 tips for TIG welding chromoly tubing. There's a whole lot more tips, but that's all we had time